Okay, just need to set up the link. In Discord. And then everything should be live, should be set up. It is showing me a dark screen, but that's now gone. So I should be here. Hello everybody. Welcome. I see everybody's still joining in. Takes always a little bit of time for the notification to go out and stuff like that. But today I'm doing a little bit of extra production. I'm working on this track over here. It's all basic ideas still. It's the track from a video that came out recently on my kick and bass actually. And I changed it up quite a bit, the rest of the track. So it starts off with this more groovy part over here. It has a variation on that. And then here I have a break. Nice vocal in here. It's still a very, very empty track. So today I hope that we can make some progress on it and do some cool stuff. Nice little melodic idea in this part of the track actually, that I want you to hear. I was just making some one-shots right here, so I decided to stream that. Hello Cosmo. Mind be welcome. This is no longer needed here. I don't know if that vocal is what I want in there. I guess it's still temporary. A lot of the vocal ideas in here, apart from the main like robotic voice that I played before, there's some other ones in here. I think these are pretty okay. But I also had some intro vocals that I think are turned off now, yeah.
I'll tell you what I know.
This is a cool vocal there, the I tell you what I know one. How was the mood? The mood is doing very well. I have some cool ideas going on in this track, I think. So I'm pretty happy about that. There's also this laughing vocal. But I think what I want to do to begin is to continue working on this idea over here a little bit more. So mainly on the one-shots, because I think they're a little bit rough. Like this one over here, for example, could use maybe a little bit of EQ. Probably don't need those lower frequencies there. This one sounds like it could use a little bit more of this. Yeah, so then it's perceived a little bit wider. let's move this here. Hello Davey, hello EG, how are you doing? I need some stuff in the middle. I do want to do like a little bit of synthesized stuff, I guess. There's some stuff in the middle over here. What I want to do is reuse one of these so that we have a little bit of familiarity between this and this over here. That's a hard word to say. Is it better to have the entire EQ8 parameters on and then just move them needed, or is it better to keep them more clean and turn only needed switches? Well, personally, what I value in my EQ is to have a lot of quick settings at my fingertips, and the way that you do that is by leaving everything turned on, and crucially by having your curves already set up the way that you want to use them. So I know that I'm probably going to be using quite a few bells, so I have 5 of them. And then I might use a low pass, I might use a high pass. I believe these are turned off in my standard EQ. Let me check actually. Okay, so only the low pass is turned off because I might need to EQ my baseline and then I need to turn it off. But I could actually turn that on. That's, I think, the reason why I keep it on or keep it off is because that's something that I might forget, and then you can have negative issues with the phase. But for the bells, there's no like audio quality difference between leaving them on or leaving them off. If there's no gain applied, then it's not going to cause any phase shift. And I just find that having it, and I just find that having them on just makes it quicker to dial in the settings that you want. I'm sorry if my speaking is a little bit slower today. I'm trying to, because I'm starting a new series on like the chats with the viewers that I want to edit all together. I try to, you know, make it a little bit more presentable as well. So maybe I need a little bit more time thinking about certain sentences and stuff like that. Hopefully, as I do it more, I'll get better at just speaking naturally like that and just coming up with more things to say on the spot. Probably don't want to use this tone here. First of all, I need to turn the pitch down. I'd love if there was a default pitch that you could set where any new clip opened up on the piano roll. Because right now it's at the 3 area from C3. I would like that to be 3 or C0, if that's possible. I don't know if that is. That would be nice though. Maybe something like that. And then let's add a triangle FM here. I was hoping that that would sound better. But it is the right pitch, right? Maybe different FM amount. I kind of like that. We will add a bandpass to this. Nice little FM texture to that sound there. Let's give it some grit back. I'm doing well, thank you for asking. Maybe CPU-wise it's better to keep them close, but it will make a difference. I mean, to be honest, the amount of EQs that you need in order to have that have an impact, those like bypassed bands, I guess, It's not going to have an impact. It's not going to have a real impact if you're working on a better PC. If you're working on a PC like I am, which is, I mean, I guess it's a standard kind of PC nowadays, because I built it last year. And I think it was an upgrade from an old PC, so I spent like $800 in total on components. But there were a few components, obviously, like the case and the power supply unit and some of the hard disks that I could keep from the other PC. So I guess you could say that I'm working on a 1200 PC. So I guess you would say that I'm working on a 1200 euro PC from like last year. So in that case, I would just say like there's no issue there. Maybe if you're working on a bad laptop, then yeah, it would make a difference. Can we hear the beginning? To be honest, I skipped through it already. It's pretty long production already. There's a video coming soon on why this is the case, what I'm actually doing in here. And a lot of it isn't filled in. So me playing the whole track doesn't really make a lot of sense. I did play through some sections earlier on. I think there's like a few sections that I may have missed, like here. Like a few ideas, but I played most of the different ideas already. That was out of sync for some reason.
I'll tell you what I know.
I don't think I've had CPU issues for like the last, since I made the upgrade actually. We're here. I don't know, maybe the laptop, it's because it's a laptop, it is under, like they set it to a lower performance for cooling reasons. One of the things you have to take into account is that a tower like this has, you know, massive amounts of airflow and stuff like that. So maybe a laptop has a little bit more difficulty. 1200 is worth a 2000 model car. Yeah, it's gonna depend on where you're at, obviously. Here in Italy, that's not the case. That's still in computer part territory. A little bit of a filter in. I think that will be cleaner. Like that. Here we need a little bit of extra stuff happening. I think one of the things that I want to do is slowly get into an atmosphere at this point here. Just so that we have something to build up until this part starts. So I'm probably going to get one out of Omnisphere. Maybe one of these. This is very nice stuff. This is very cool atmospheric stuff that you can get from there. Maybe this doesn't work for the exact part that we're going for, but there's some really nice stuff in here. I do kind of like this as an idea, maybe an octave lower. Yeah, and then we can have it go through something like overdrive to give that extra grit to the mid-range. I need to start worrying about these details a lot more because my monitors are coming. So soon I will be able to hear those details also not on my headphones and also on my speakers. I see lines and blocks and music comes out. I've had a comment today that it's hard to see my skin. I would love to hear what you guys think about it because maybe I should switch to a little bit of a brighter just configuration of the skin. A lot of people say that it's hard to understand what is going on. And for me, that's not the case whatsoever. I really like the darker theme. That's the reason why I have it as well. And there's another group of people that says, like, it's really nice that you have this darker, unique theme, because then you stand out a little bit more from, I guess, the Ableton crowd. This pad is like Half-Life intro music. To be honest, I don't know Half-Life, so I wouldn't be able to tell. But I would love to... Like, some people say that it's hard to understand what's going on in my DAW. Like, it's hard to see things. And I don't really get that. Maybe there are people that are watching on a phone or are watching at a lower connection or something like that. Of course, I'm watching this on a 27-inch monitor without any YouTube compression. For me, it's way too black. By the way, hello, am I late? I just got started with the stream. I just got started 15 minutes ago. So I'll be sitting here for quite a while. You're very early. So welcome. It took me a while to get used to it, but it got better the more I watched. What is the issue then? Is it just the darkness of it? Or is it visibility? Because I guess I could just turn up the overall brightness. I'm not even tweaking this too much. But if I set this to 200, say. Does this make it easier to see? Because to me, all it does is it messes up these colors. Like, these colors are a lot less saturated now. Maybe. Yeah, but this has a tint to it. I cannot get this to then go actually to black. Right, yeah. I would love to have this brightness, but with more saturation, I guess. Because around here, the colors really start to pop. But maybe this is better for visibility, because then the whites come out more. The grid isn't super prominent. I cannot turn that any higher. This is the highest that it will go. And in fact, it is less apparent when it's this bright. Right? If I set this back to 100, I guess not so much. Obviously, this low, it goes way too low. But I do agree that sometimes maybe the grid can be hard to see. Although on the clips, you can see it. Maybe I can see if the normal of RFL dark is slightly brighter. Because that's the name of the skin. It's called RFL Dark Plus. This one over here. maybe there is a different version of his skin. There is a different version of his skin, but I don't think that that has color changing capabilities. It doesn't give me much more than a normal video, so I'll have to look into that after the stream actually. I think I'm going to test it like this, if it's better like this. I like the brightness of the text this way. I don't like the colors this way. Maybe I need to make my own skin and make it and edit it a little bit so that maybe in the playlist only it is a little bit easier to see the grid lines. And one of this is pretty dark, so it's hard to see the grid lines. I could maybe, yeah, that's what I'm saying. For the grid lines, I could maybe turn it up. I have been producing with this skin for years, yeah. Before this, I used the normal dark mode that is in here. Which, I mean, is okay. It's a little bit ugly now, but I'll get used... Like, this is a very industrial kind of gray. You know what I mean? It reminds me of oil barrels. Whereas the other one reminds me of, I guess, Premiere Pro. Which is also not a great thing. But like, this reminds me of a proper dark mode that you get on, for example, Discord. Or even in the YouTube chat. This is the same kind of dark, I guess. I don't even know how relevant the grid would be for production, though, honestly. Well, the grid, when it comes to production, it's what you line things up to. So it's nice to see, for example, if I'm zoomed out like this, that you're able to see the structure of everything, I guess. And that you're able to see all of these lines going down and that it's not just completely gray, right? That it can be anywhere, I guess. Like if I select it, you should probably be able to see much clearer at least where the lines are. And then you can see for now, for the base, for example, and for the structure up here, where exactly everything is aligned. Whereas maybe like this, it's harder to see. Chat is so active, the lag is bad. I do have a long delay on it today still. I haven't tested anything with a short delay yet. So that's something that maybe I need to do in the future. But anyway, when it comes to the skin, I'll see what the response will be. I'm going to put this in the second video, I guess, of the conversations video. Which is going to be like conversations and recap of my stream. And then I'll just see in the comments if people, when they're discussing this topic, have any problems with the skin. I'll put this fairly early on in the video, so that people will probably comment on it. Now that I'm saying this, it's going to go in and everybody will comment. But I'll just see what people say, if the skin is good like this. Maybe, as I said, I can make one that is essentially the same skin but a little bit brighter, so that the lines show up a little bit better. Or maybe I can even get the lines to just be darker still. But are you zoomed out max? My zoom is set to 85. I do like a little bit of zoom because I want to have the space. I realize now that I can probably make this shorter to line it up with my camera. So now I have a little bit more space in the middle as well. But just overall, I like to see a little bit more. I like everything to be a little bit smaller. But again, also that is something that I'm willing to change on if that, for some reason, lowers the quality of either my stream or my videos. Because that's what it's ultimately all about. I can use, or I can learn to live with a different skin if it massively improves the quality of my videos. So that's why I'm having this discussion right now. You know what I mean? That's why I want to hear from you as well. They're used to the normal skin. I guess so. The normal skin just burns my eyes. This one over here, the default one, this is terrible. I don't want to ever look at this. So for that reason, obviously going from such a very dark thing, but also all of my other software and everything else that I watch and use being in dark mode, I would hate to have to use Ableton like that. You can still see where the tracks are for the most part, so it's okay for me. Well, that's the point at the end of the day in terms of arrangement. I guess you mainly see it when I'm like zoomed into it and have them open. I'm just going to try this one stream with the higher brightness to see if that makes a difference. I'm going to look after or backwards in the stream, look at the compression and stuff like that. So that's another thing that I can do. Here with this atmosphere, I wanted to see if I can transcade this. A little bit of auto panning going on there for some extra stereo interest. There's some Reaper themes where they use colors. I know there's some pretty terrible Reaper themes out there. I also have my Reaper set to like be very dark like this. I basically took the background color, because in Reaper you can actually tweak the colors and stuff like that. You're not able to do that in Ableton. There's no like theme editor in here, at least not that I know of. So for that reason, I cannot change it easily in here. Otherwise, I could just slightly turn up the grainness, I guess, of the skin. We need something extra over here. But yeah, in Reaper, I do have a... you can edit the skin, I guess. So that's what I did. I just went in there and took the background color, or the background color, and made that like a very dark gray like I have in Ableton. Just going to use the same technique that I did with the other one. Kind of like that, but it needs a little bit extra spice. So let's combine it with another one. Something like that. We make this go up. Or maybe, yeah. like that with some saturation. I want it in between in terms of the brightness of it. I don't want it too bright. The sound, I mean, not the skin anymore. Something like that. Still hoping skins in Bitwig, but I doubt it will happen. Are there no skins for Bitwig? Like not even default ones or like factory ones, I guess? That's a cool delay sound, I like that. Is this one too loud, maybe? Or is this too quiet still? Now it's a little bit too loud. This sound, I like it, but I want it to stand out a bit more as well. So I'm going to OTT it, but with heavy. It's funny that you say that you stayed with the stock gray, because I hate it. As I showed before, it is very bright, and all of the other software that I use, including like Ableton or the YouTube Studio for streaming, and when I'm editing Premiere Pro as well, all of that is like very dark mode. Even obviously something like Discord has a dark mode. And I use dark mode as much as I can, basically anywhere. Hello, Kevhuman. Welcome. Also, some other people that I didn't say welcome to. Kat, welcome to the stream. Sophist, how are you doing? Jabba. Jabba is a name that I recognize, but I don't exactly remember from where. Apart from maybe like the chat from before, but maybe the Discord server or something like that. I think we need to add another sequence over here that just adds some background elements. Just like a plug thing. What plugin for reverb and delay? For delay, I use Echo Boy or the default Echo here from Ableton. And then for my reverb, I mainly use M Turbo Verb. Fairly rarely I go with H reverb or black hole or something like that, or any of these other reverbs. 95% of my reverbs come from M Turbo Verb, because it's very nice. Let's see. Just setting up a simple rhythm for now that we can check. I don't want it to be nice and clicky. Something like that, maybe a lower filter. And I like a final filter on here. Maybe it is even cool to do the pitch track where you just add this. This is kind of the effect that I was after with the hyper itself, but it doesn't seem to work that well. This might not hit as I wanted to. That sounds nicer. I think without the distortion it's better. Maybe just a little bit of saturation at the end of the chain to bring everything out a bit more. I want something warm. Does it say warm in here? There are some warm presets in here, right? I thought it would be in here, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Maybe this one here? I do believe the character hall has something like this, but that's longer. I swear I've seen the word warm before in one of these like pop-ups. But I don't remember if it's one of the spaces or one of the One's over here. I do like this. Maybe a bit too long now. I think one of the things that I've noticed is that choosing your reverb wisely is very, very important. I was going without a delay, but I think a delay on it would be nicer. We'll get like a warm... This can be one of those sounds which I might end up deleting with a track like this. I think my message got lost in the way, if not, sorry for flooding. I don't know, maybe, yeah. I'll scroll back a little bit. To be honest, I haven't been watching the chat too much in the last, like, 10 minutes of the stream, because I was really focused on getting this sound to work, but this is one of those sounds. I'm going to try if I can make a replacement. If the replacement gets better, then this sound gets deleted or moved around. Like, this might be a sound that works better in, like, an area like this, actually.
I'll tell you what I know.
Yeah, and then we get in here. It nicely speeds it up there. Okay, we'll try to make a different type of sound in here. There's actually going to be a video soon on how I sound design and my philosophy behind it. And one of the things that I say is that I don't really know what I'm doing, which I think I've proved here, right? That in the sense that sometimes the sound just fails, or at least isn't exactly what you want it to be. I do want like a gritty tone like that then, I guess. It seems we can edit almost anything with the Ableton theming XML file. I might need to look into the XML file for then this theme to see if I can brighten it up a little bit. But that's something that I would have to experiment with then. Yeah. I could technically have these run through the same effects channel if I'm already copying over effects. Doesn't make a lot of sense to have the same effects twice. Maybe the transition is going to be a bit rough now. This nice to have. Let's add some crashes in here. I do think that that's gonna work well. Sounds very nice. Thank you. By the way, I wanted to show this thing over here in my general form. Can I just have this pop up here? No, right? Okay, I'll show it like this. If you go to my Discord chat, there's this general form, right? Which not a lot of people use. It doesn't get a lot of use. This is actually where you can ask questions and they'll stay in here as a topic. So this is nice for people who... So this is nice for topics that you want to discuss that are handy to like have around. And one of the things that is currently in here is the what can I improve for 2024 topic over here. There were already some discussions in here. So this is like a longer thread. You don't obviously have to read all of this, but you can if you want to. The first question though is fairly important. It's just like a simple question on what can I improve on my content. Any type of specific changes to videos or the products, as you can see. I would love it if you guys would take some time out of your day to write in here so that I have some things that I can mark down. There's already a few things that I'm doing, like getting my content on TikTok and Instagram Reels, for example, so that I'm just more out there. But now is for me the time that I need to, again, reevaluate some of the things that I'm doing. And it's also going to consider stuff like how I'm editing my videos, what kind of content I'm producing. I'm currently working on the new conversations, like the stream recap thing. So that's one of the things that I'm considering an improvement on my content, is just getting you guys to see more of my stream. So hopefully more people will tune into the stream as well if it's happening. Because I think having the videos of the stream up there on my channel is a nice way to just advertise my stream a little bit. But if there's anything that you can think of that I should improve, then you can write it down right here. Also, for the conversations, there's a new topic list here, or topic chat in the stream section, where you can also write different conversation topics that you want. You can suggest anything. You can suggest anything for me to look at, and I will do so. And maybe I'll even prepare a little bit. If there's a very interesting topic, I'll do some research before the stream, and then I can actually talk about it at length. But hopefully that's a way that I can just improve the quality of the stream as well for you guys watching, so that I have some things prepared in advance that are interesting, that we can discuss, that we can talk about, and we just have some interesting conversations that way. I have a crash there. I think I want to accompany that with a downlifter, which I'm not sure if I have that here. This is a nice one. I don't like the delay on it. Okay, they have the exact same version without the delay, apparently. That's kind of funny. Okay, this sound here could be a bit more stereo, so that it gives us like more power going into it. This has a very strange stereo field. Why would it do that? How good are you at writing melodies? I'm terrible at writing melodies. That's the reason why I'm doing psytrance, is because it requires minimal melody work. This makes it even worse. A very strange stereo field there. I think that just has to do with the sound design. Maybe there's some DC offset in here. I guess there is around this waveform. Remove DC offset. Now it's... yeah, now it makes it more in the middle. I feel like you could almost hear the DC offset in there, especially how it was interacting with the stereo spread. Have you seen Skater 2? Would you use it? I would use something like that if I were making any other genre that doesn't require too much music theory. Like, I can get by with the things that I'm doing now in psytrance with just my simple knowledge, but it's not something that I would, for example, use for making videos or tutorials, because I'm not very confident that I can explain well what I'm doing and what my thought process is. I guess one of the reasons why I make a lot of sound design tutorials and technical tutorials is because that's the thing that I really seem to get inside of psytrance, and that's the thing that really interests me, and that's the thing that I'm really good at. Like, there is some melodies in here, for example, let's say this stuff here. And in this case, I did something cool with the pitch, which actually may become a video later. But this is essentially a static patch. Why is this starting over here? It should start over here. Let's go in here so that you guys can see better. So what I'm doing is I'm generating the melody in static, and then I have a half copy of the melody as well. So this is just like the first half of the sequence that it switches to. I didn't mess anything up there in terms of automation, right? No. So you can see it goes from 1 to 2 here, and then it goes up as well in terms of the pitch that it's playing. Having it still in Frisian mode in the root of the key that I'm using, so it still always makes sense in terms of the melody that it plays. I did want to try, though, having this. Something like that in terms of the build-up. This seemed quite kind of nice here. So these are, I guess, the kind of melody hacks that I have that I could use. But other than that, there's not really anything that I do specifically. I guess the only other thing when it comes to making ARPs is that I can sometimes check in A minor or C major, because then you use all of the white keys. But I write a lot in Frisian, so even then you have to take into account that I guess the key that is normally the B becomes A sharp if you're working in A minor, and then you just transpose it to whatever key that you're working on in the track. I guess that's how Dash makes a lot of his music, because I think he pitches the MIDI after making it or writing it in C, from what I've seen of some of his content. At least he used to do that. I don't know if he still does that. Your stream is pretty decent already. I don't even make sidetrans, but somehow I'm here regularly. One of the things that I'm going to improve on my stream is that I'm going to purchase one of those 6-key stream decks, so that it can easily switch to full screen mode and to the pause screen and to the intro screen and to the outro screen. And then I'll also have an OBS scene for my DJ setup, which I will get into very, very soon, hopefully in the coming weeks. Maybe in 2-3 weeks, I'll guess I record my first live setup, and then maybe later on I can see if I can do it in a live format as well. Those are the things that I can think of when it comes to improving my stream. And maybe one of the things that I can consider is moving the face cam from the position that it's in now to up top here. Although there's some fairly important things happening up here as well. Right, there's not really a place that I can put my face cam inside of Ableton that it wouldn't at some point be in the way. I used to work with the groove pool open, which you guys cannot even see. And the only reason why I would have that is so that I would have a reminder that's like, there is your face cam. That's where your face cam roughly is. But even nowadays, I just don't use it. And sometimes I'll be in here looking for samples like this. And you guys wouldn't be able to see exactly which one I pick, for example. So there's always small considerations. That's what I'm saying. There's always small considerations on what I can actually improve here. We want to add this one to my favorites here. What you can do is, with the keys on your keyboard, you can set your favorite. So you're gonna make a secret tea recipe video? That's a longer term project, yeah. That's something that I would do in maybe a month or two, something like that. I have some other things. I have a big announcement coming Sunday on another thing. So there's some other things that I need to focus on first. Friday, I have my monitors coming, hopefully. I just got told that the order has been shipped for my monitors and audio interface. So I have to obviously attend to that as well. I'm gonna go with the Echo Boy, because I've been finding that one has a nicer texture. Again, this is one of the things that I'm training myself on trying new plugins, trying new different things in order to just improve. Echo Boy is something that I've started using recently, and one of the things that I like about it is just having more like control over the tone of the delay tail. And when you get monitors, that is something that is important because that's one of the details that you're really easily going to catch up on with the added detail that it should provide. Something like this is nice and warm. Let's try. This is what I mean with the different types. Sometimes the ambience works wonderfully, sometimes the transmitter works really nice. This is usually nice on transient stuff, I think. This has a bit of a strange sound to it. Maybe cheap tape works. That one is strange too. Starting to sound better. Do you miss your teenage years? Are you nostalgic in general? I think partially I answered this on the last stream that I did, on the last high-tech stream that I did, in the sense that in the last high-tech stream I talked about not having any memorabilia and that not being a big issue for me. I think it's the same way with like nostalgics. One of the reasons I guess I see that is because I see not just in like music production or in the skill that I'm training from day to day, but also just in life in general, I'm getting better at things. And I think that's one thing that I appreciate more than the past. There are obviously some things that I miss and that I would like to have back. Just, I guess, one of the things is the fact that back in the day, it used to be just all for fun. I would say, like, you didn't have a lot of responsibilities, and now there's a lot more things just going on in your life, you know, trying to live on your own, all of that stuff. There's just a lot more things that come with that. It's mainly about interaction. Other music producers' streams have a lot of delay and the producers are too busy tweaking to read chat. I'm also kind of guilty of that, in that I get lost in the sounds, like here and when I was making this other sound as well. But at some point you just get better in that, and now I know at least like every 5 minutes I have to look over at least to just read the chat. But to finally answer the point then of Shadow Rage, I'm not really nostalgic for anything like in particularly hard, I would say. There's not something that I'm actively missing, including my teenage years. I guess one of the things that contributes to that is that for the first part of my teenage years, back when I still lived in the Netherlands, for a large part of that I got bullied quite a lot at school. And it's actually the reason why I started music production. This is a funny story. This actually happened. I used to have these kind of headphones when I was going to school. So these over-the-ear, fairly big headphones. And for that reason, people would call me the DJ. Like, as a thing that they did. And but this was after I was getting bullied. So from year 1 to year 3, I got bullied on, I guess that would be middle school in Netherlands. But in the 4th year, there were 2 guys that it wasn't really bullying, but they weren't friends either. They were just like classmates, and we would just have interactions as in, hey, how are you doing? nice, how are you, nice, and that would be it. And the other thing that they would constantly say to me is like, hey, you're a DJ, or are you the DJ, or they would call me the DJ, kind of just like jokingly, not really bullying me anymore, because that stuff stopped at that point. But the reason why I started making music is I was cycling home one day and I was just like, wouldn't it be fun if one day I would surprise them with actually having written a song, having made some electronic music? So that's how I got into it, because at that time I was really into listening to dubstep. And I found immediately that that was really hard to create. But from there, I learned about the existence of FL Studio. I started experimenting a little bit. And then I guess after a year or so, I was like, oh, this is actually really cool. I want to continue doing this. I want to make this my hobby. And I stopped playing games for the most part. Basically, anytime I had some free time, I was making music. And that just kind of spiraled out of control. And now 10 years later, I'm making it into my career. That one is very harsh there. I guess with another EQ after that, we can take out those two, like, slightly resonant. How's my Italian so far? I can basically form any sentence that I want to, but there are some words that I still don't know. Still feels fairly muddy here. Might have to do with this one here. I guess one of the things that I need to learn for myself is that I use or listen to the context of the whole mix. I'm speaking a lot about it because tomorrow, as I said, my monitors are arriving, my new studio monitors. And I want to get into the habit of listening correctly to what I'm doing and how I'm producing, so that when I'm using my monitors, I can immediately take full advantage of them, in the sense that I don't want to be making the mistake of, when they say, if you're making a mixing decision, you listen to the sound soloed like this. Because now it sounds like a cool sound, but when it's in here, there's like some issue with it. Right now, it's just too loud. But other than that, you know what I mean? That there's ways that you can listen to your production while you're producing, or especially in the mixing phase, which is just wrong, because you cannot really make the judgment or the proper judgment of that. Still words I know are Wafankulo and Stonzo. It's like everybody. The first thing that you learn is the bad words that you shouldn't say. Also, it's not van fanculo, it's va fanculo. So without the N. Did you try to recreate any tracks, for example, Asterix, Ace Ventura, etc.? I mean, any professional producer. Yes, I did a remake of Deep Jungle Walk. I got pretty far with that. I can show some parts, actually, quickly, if I can find the project. Maybe. There's a lot of old projects in here. Maybe it would be cool one day to just go back and to have a look at those actual projects that I used to make. But I believe there will be an Asterix Deep Jungle Walk remake in here. Molto bene. Again, bene is with one N, not two. But yeah, remaking stuff is definitely a way to practice properly. One of the things that I do as an exercise sometimes is not really remake a track, but just map out a track. As in, you put a track in your project and then you make a MIDI clip for every element that you hear, so that you can kind of mark where all of the things are in the track, so that you can make sense of how the structure is supposed to work. So you're not really copying a track then, but you're just trying to make sense of it. There's probably some plugins in here that I no longer have. Also, media files are missing. This whole project setup is old. It is my old structure and everything. But there is some asterisk stuff in here, definitely. Oh, this is just the... Is this the actual remake now? That's very close. That's scarily close. Even like the vocal texture is kind of the same.
They fill you with false hopes. They speak visions from their own mind.
I mean, the kick is not very good, but the rest is kind of there. There are some issues with it. I think I made a tutorial on this synth here. Here all of the modulations were done properly and all of the melody stuff and stuff like that. This took a long time. The only thing that I used, were the vocals. And even those are actually sourced externally, in that they're from a sample pack from somewhere. I don't like the kick, but the bass line is very close. You can hear that there's something off with everything, but the idea is definitely there. Deep Jungle Walk is the song name, yes. These vocals, I actually sourced them from individual Terence McKenna things or John Watts things. I don't exactly remember which ones I got them from, but they are there. You can hear that there's some with a lot of noise in there and stuff like that. This lead is very close. Kind of funny that I got so close with a lot of these elements. I think the intro is pretty close too. I do have the chant itself, actually. So very close, actually, I got. It's like, do we have Deep Jungle Walk at home? Yes. What's the meme like? I would like a Deep Jungle Walk. We have a Deep Jungle Walk at home. The Deep Jungle Walk at home. That's the meme, right? That's how it goes. It was a very fun project, and I did learn a lot doing this, actually. I would recommend doing something like this, because there is a lot of very intricate detail that you have to listen for to be able to do this. I guess one of the things that I could do now is try to improve upon this version that I have, and just try to expand it even more once I get the monitors. I should be able to be a lot better, both in the terms of the production that I have, as well as the, you know, the quality of the audio that I'm going to have in a few days once all of the monitor stuff is set up. I am actually very excited to play with the monitors. To just hear my music, how it sounds in the context of an actual, I guess, proper studio equipment as well. Asterix at home is this stream. Yes, I am also bald, so it does check out. I am happy that you can actually hear the quality of my music improving a lot in terms of just tonality and how it all sits together and how it's all frequency balanced. Part of that is obviously because in the other one I wasn't really worrying about that. I was just trying to get the details of the sound design right. But just overall, the way that I've been doing production mix has really been improving. And I'm starting to feel like I'm going to get to a point sometime soon that I no longer have to do, technically have to do it, which is my Reaper mixing. So exporting for mixing into Reaper. But I'll still probably do it because I just generally like the workflow. Like, I have the capabilities now to just in the production nail the mix the first time, but being able to go over it and having to doubt everything again is an easy way to make sure that all of the things that you're doing in the mix actually make sense. And it just gives me an extra level of confidence in the mix that I'm presenting, I guess. What monitors did I get? I think I showed this on stream as well last time. But I'll pull it up once more. If I do this, does it show my address? Yes, it does. But I can show this part here. So these are the cables. This is the new audio interface that I'm going for, the MiniFuse 2 Black. I have two big stands for the monitors that they can rest on, and then the monitors themselves are the Atom 7Ts. Very nice monitors. As you can see, they had a bundle going on, so the price of the monitors is this, and that includes the stands as well. That's why it says 0 over here. I didn't actually pay $0 for the stands and the monitors themselves. If you have a beard, it's fine. I guess it's hard if your head feels completely naked. I mean, the point of the nakedness was to say that I look very much like Asterix. I guess the beard is the only thing that distinguishes us. And you can definitely hear that I have a beard if you compare my music to Asterix. You can hear the quality difference of him not having a beard, right? I don't know what I'm saying, if I'm saying that my music is higher quality or lower quality because of the beard than his. That's something for you guys to discuss in the chat. That's why we have the chat function. I guess these sounds may sound a little bit too similar. I want to go for a very FM-y style sound. Something like this maybe. But not that exact sound because I use it a lot. 0.005 is also a nice FM. I didn't know that. Now I have two tones. Beard bullying. Yes, exactly. You looked into them. They are very nice from everybody that I know talked about them. Like, everybody's saying that they're very good. So I'm glad people do have good experiences with them. One of the things that is going to be an issue, though, is getting them on the desk, because they're definitely a lot bigger than I initially expected. I need to move my desk back this way quite a bit for it to actually sit in here, to be able to fit in here. But that's something that I'm going to have to figure out later. It's wild you went this far in your journey without monitors, but I hope you enjoy them. I like to think that it gave me a particular understanding of how important it is to listen to professional music before you start doing anything, and to listen to, or to know how your system actually sounds. And part of it is, I guess, the reason why I'm so dependent upon analyzers, and the reason why I learned or taught myself to use analyzers at any possible time. Like, I already have my oscilloscope set up just so that I can look at what I'm doing and see, like, okay, this is exactly what I need to do. This is exactly how it's supposed to be. There are no issues in here. This bass still needs a little bit of cleaning up, and like the transient can be a little bit lower. So I'm already capable of making some mixing decisions just based on looks and not necessarily hearing them. And that's another way to kind of train your ears in order to be able to detect those kind of things later on when you actually do get the proper gear and you're able to actually hear those things. Because on my speakers, there's just a bunch of things that I cannot hear. Even the difference between the speakers and the headphones is huge. Not just in terms of, you know, the balance sounding different, like the spectrum sounding different, but also the amount of details that you hear. Hello, Greedo. Welcome, welcome. Too big for your desk. I kind of considered that right after I purchased them, like how big they actually are. One of the things I need to do is move my microphone, which is currently clamped where the right monitor is going to be, and move it so that it clamps to the front of my desk, which I think might be a tad bit annoying, but I don't see any other way to put it other than to the back almost over here, and then it's going to be right in front of this monitor. So either I'm blocking off one, or screen, I guess, not monitor, because now I will have actual monitors. But it will be on right in front of this screen. And I'd rather block this screen over here, because there's less important stuff usually on that screen. It is going to be a bit of a hassle getting everything set up the way that it actually needs to be. Including moving the desk backwards with all of the things on there. Psytrance is all about perfect kick and bass phase alignment. I don't do phase alignment anymore. I have transcended phase alignment with the patch that I have now, and I've done for quite a while actually. I think almost a year that I haven't done proper phase alignment how you would normally do it. Because I separate the sub bass and I just don't play the sub bass when it's over here. So you can see I get a very small waveform out here. And part of the reason is because there's no sub bass in there. Do you hear it? It's maybe a bit hard to hear, but only on the offbeat do I have sub bass coming from my bass line actually. Yeah, I think I would be cooked. I also prefer working on speakers, and only when I'm streaming do I actually work on headphones. Apart from sometimes just checking that what I'm doing makes sense, right? Like, for example, if I'm mixing, I'll often use my headphones just as a double check to actually make sure, like, okay, that what you're doing makes sense in just spectrally wise. Because I do not 100% just trust my speakers to be able to do that. I want to shuffle this actually. See if I can get a nice, slightly distorted sound here somewhere. I like that. Yeah, the next step would be acoustics, but that's not going to happen in this apartment. If I'm going to do proper acoustic treatment, I'm going to do that in a place where I plan to stay a little bit more permanently. Because right now, the place that I'm staying, I'm probably going to stay for another half a year and then I'm going to move again. Maybe I'll tag another year onto the contract after that, if I cannot find the proper place to work. But I'm definitely not going to be doing any like modifications here to the apartment. I would do that if I had an apartment where I would say like, okay, yeah, here I can see myself living for the next 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. Sorry, I'll try to read again. I still don't understand how to work with phases. On my song feedback you said my kick and bass are out of phase. Could it be due to the kick being in 2 different tracks on the left and right channels? For one, I think I said that your kick and bass are out of phase with each other, or the kick is out of phase with itself. In that case, yes, it would be because on the left and the right channel, they are out of phase of each other. So the left and the right channel normally sums together into a perfect sine wave that looks like this. If you have any issues where they are out of phase, for example, can I do that quickly? Can I do only process the right channel? I would need to make an audio effect track for that, right? MSET, I think I need. Something like this. Yeah. I believe this is the way. Yeah. If I now go here with an EQ on the right channel, I should be able to just put the right track out of phase. Exactly. So now if I send SciScope to... I'm doing some technical stuff here. Hang on for a second. I'll try to explain this afterwards. I need to take input from this group as well. And this goes to 3-4. Here I want to have overdrive. That's... No, right? Oh, I need to put this on the group. Yeah, of course. Of course, of course. So now I can take from after the right channel and from after the left channel separately. Why isn't this working then? Needs to go to SciScope, input 3-4, which is this layer here. Apparently there's something coming in, but it doesn't really believe in itself yet. I was hoping that that would work, that I would be able to show the difference in left and right. Or do I have to do post mixer? Ah, it's because this needs to be set to right. Here we are. Yeah. Sorry. And then I turn off the bass. Now I can show it. This is what you have. They are out of phase like this. And what you would want is obviously for the left and right channel to be like this. Where they're exactly the same. Which in your case they aren't, because they go left and right like that. Should I move kick 1 to the center channel? Your kick should be mono, 100%. So you just get a sample or make a sample that's mono. Like if you're working with kick 2, you shouldn't get stereo width out of that. You're doing something that makes the kick stereo, so you should stop doing that. I love you and your work, big respect. Thank you from Kick. We were just talking about you. We're talking about how to phase align you. Do you imagine teaching your kids psytrance techniques if you plan to have any, of course? I would have, if I were to have kids, I would like them to be like musically busy, that they do something with music. I wouldn't force it upon them, like they have to choose their own passion at the end of the day, but I would try from an early age to expose them to music and maybe even to music creation. I know that there's a couple ideas out there for synths for kids, basically, some synths that they can play with. So I would do that for them. If they are interested in music production, I will always help them try to make something. I think I would also try to expose them to psytrance in specifically, but not just by producing it or teaching them how to produce it, but by actually getting them to a festival at a young age. There are a few people that do that. Obviously, you're going to go to a festival at that point for a different way, for a different reason. And I assume that I would, for example, do that. Say that in 10 years, I have some notoriety. I have played a couple of festivals and I'm able to go backstage, you know, escape the crowd, kind of. So that then my children could have a little bit of a safe place to be. But I would like to, when they're a couple of years old, you know, a place where they can maybe, I don't know, dance on stage or something like that. You sometimes see that at Boom festivals, if you look into those full life movie sets that they make, that there's a bunch of kids dancing on the stage. And I always assume that those are the kids of the organizers and the DJ who is playing and whoever. So I guess I would join them and also have my kids do that. At least below 60 hertz should be mono, I suppose. Your kick should be mono all the way through, in my opinion. Because if you don't make it mono, there's going to be some point where you have to go from stereo to mono. And in that case, you ruin the kick's natural sine wave. Right? Which is this thing over here. Say that you have to go from stereo to mono here. Then there's going this sine wave cannot go from stereo to mono without being damaged in the point where the crossover happens. So I would just have my kick mono. No question about it. Of course, if you do a different genre, then that might change. But in psytrance, that's, I think, the way to do it. Speaking about psytrance, I am going to take a quick break of the production for now. I'm going to put on some music. I'm taking a quick break because it's been 1.5 hours and I need to rest my ears for a little bit. What I'll have you guys listen at is a master that I did for an upcoming track of mine, which I hope you guys will enjoy. And you can give me some feedback on it as well. This is a cool track. It's the one that starts slow at 110 BPM and then speeds up towards the end here. Anyway, I'll be back once the track is over. And I hope that you enjoy it. do see some interesting conversation that I want to talk about in chat, but I want to wait for the music to end, so it looks good in the edits. That's one of the things I have to take into account now. Very nice, your new track. Thank you. I don't know when this is going to release yet. Hopefully a month and a half, something like that. And then I have another single after that. And then I'm also working towards making another album, even though I said I wouldn't. Do you like to perform live? I would like to, at some point. I just need to learn how to do it. So, Cosmo had a discussion with a few others in the chat about beginner stuff and him not knowing that his kick should be in mono. I think the first thing that you need to know when it comes to music production is that your first track is going to be shit. And your second track is also going to be shit, but you're going to recognize that it's a little bit less shit. And then the third track is still going to be shit, but you recognize it's, oh, this one is even slightly better than that. And slowly you're going to build that up over the course of maybe 20, 30 tracks, maybe even more. It depends on how fast of a learner you are. It depends on how much time you spend practicing in between productions. It depends on how good you are at recognizing the patterns of production. It depends on how good you are training your ears. There's a lot of small skills that turn out to be big skills that you actually need. As I said, like the ear training and stuff like that. But yeah, just like Crazy Joker says, you should definitely do... But yeah, just like Crazy Joker says, you should definitely do things like join the Discord and ask for feedback on your tracks and stuff like that. That's one of the ways that you're going to be able to improve it. And you submitted your track for the feedback on stream as well. So that's also another way that you're, you know, getting somebody else to catch up on the most prominent mistakes that you're currently making. Because in the first few productions that you do, you are going to make those mistakes. Like, indeed, not having a mono kick drum. That's something that you need to have to learn, because somebody needs to tell you that that's something that you would need to do. I am so sorry. I know, yeah, you said that on the Discord. I should be better at that. I should be better at recognizing names, but I'm sorry for that. Maybe someone will hear some kind of improvement. There definitely will be improvement. And as you said, you like to do it for just personal use, I guess. And not so much for trying to become, I guess famous is not the right word, but getting your music out there for others to listen. And in that case, if it's just a passion project and you enjoy doing it and you enjoy the music that you're making, then that's enough. But if indeed you're planning on playing in festivals and getting your music heard and getting your music out there at some point, then there are just certain things that you need to do in order to make sure that your track actually works from a mixing perspective, from a technical perspective. That's not a problem. Well, still, we talked about this, so I should take that into account more. I did promise you that I would do that. But overall, as I said, I'm very bad at remembering names, and I am at the point where my community isn't just the 4 regular people that would join my stream, I guess, a year and a half ago. Personally, I never really pan stuff. I think that what I like more in terms of stereo sound is to just play with the stereo width of the sound, which is something like this, right? So this is a plugin. It's not necessarily panning, which it can also do over here, but this is just the overall width of the sound. So I'll bypass it so you can hear it. You would need to have headphones on to hear that though, but if you go back into the replay of the stream, or if you're later in the video, if you're watching this, you can hear it on headphones, how it goes from the center to more towards the side of your head almost. You just perceive where the sound is coming from differently, even though it's not going left or right necessarily. Because panning is this, right? You can clearly hear that has some direction to it. And yes, it again makes it so that the sound either comes from here or from here. But with the stereo width overall, it comes from both. Or it comes from the middle of your head. And that's the difference that you hear. And that's another, in my opinion, better way to just make the sound more exciting. And if I'm bad at mixing and EQing, is almost non-existent in my tracks, is there any point to make you listen to it? Yes, of course. I can still appreciate the ideas of your track. When it comes to the mix, it's the final, I guess, 20... Yeah. So say that the production is 75%, right? The ideas that you put in the track. Then the mixing is 20% and the mastering will be 5%. So at the end of the day, you can get extra 25% out of your track by mixing and mastering. But if the idea itself is bad, then no mixing or mastering is going to make it into a good track. So that's why the most important part, in my opinion, is still the production and just the ideas that you have in the track. So it does make sense, yeah, for somebody to listen to an unmixed track. They can just tell you like, okay, I like these ideas, I maybe don't like these ideas, and this is some things that you could change, this is some things that you could adapt. But when it's like the packaging on the phone, right? If they hand you your phone in a plastic bag without any packaging in there, with all of the items, all of the accessories just tossed in the plastic bag, you would be like, okay, this is not the best thing, right? I don't like how I'm being presented this phone here, this phone that I just spent a lot of money on buying. But they can just put it into a box of paper and just put a few separators in between, and then already the presentation is a little bit better, but the phone is still the same. The accessories are still the same. I don't think an arrangement for stereo mid far narrow. That's not something you would necessarily think about in the arrangement. It's just something that you think about when you're adding like individual sounds. So I know that I want this sound over here, for example, these two. Right? So I know that I need to do some stereo work because I know that the kick and bass are going to be in here and I want those to take up the mono space a little bit more. That's not necessarily something that I know about arrangement in the sense that it's not about the actual structure of the track. It's just what elements am I competing in and where do I have the space to put this. A little bit of a loud sound here. This is another sound that should use a little bit more of the stereo field because it comes in very mono when it initially plays. Personally, Joker, I would recommend against doing something like that because it depends very much on the particular instrument that you're working with. And it is good to be able to just train yourself. Like as a long-term strategy, it makes more sense to train yourself to hear what a specific element should do as opposed to just relying on a cheat sheet. I always imagine, like when it comes to how I should learn something, how I should learn a particular skill about mixing, is I imagine myself being in the studio with a famous artist who has no idea who I am, and I'm their mixing engineer. If I were that famous artist and they would see me pull up a cheat sheet for the instrument placement, they wouldn't be really confident in my ability to do the things that I need to do. So in that same vein, I would ask myself, like, if I have to use a cheat sheet, why would I be confident in my abilities to mix? To me, that looks like it looks like if you're using sheets like that you aren't confident in your mixing abilities. And one of the things that you really need when you're doing anything creative is just being confident in what you're doing, being confident in yourself. Have you ever listened to Japanese-style psytrance producers like Kamera? Sorry. Have you ever listened to Japanese-style Have you ever listened to Japanese-style psytrance producers like Camellia or Kobarayo? I'm sorry with the mispronunciation. I think there's a lot to learn from them in terms of creativity, especially in high energy levels. I have not. I would need to remember those artists' names though. And I think at the end of the stream, I'm going to have forgotten these names. So if you really want me to listen to them, remind me later on Discord. Exactly, Greedo. Fear does cancel your creativity. When you start to doubt yourself, you're like, I'm not sure if I should exactly do this or that. Then you're going to be doubting yourself for so long that it doesn't make sense to actually mix anymore, because for every decision you're going to sit there like, is this the right thing? Is this the right thing? And you're never going to actually get to a point where your mix is finished. I was working on one-shots, I think, right? Some distorted things here. I want to keep that one for just the B side, I think. I think we can sound match this. I do like this one here. Why does this still come with a delay? Or is that built into... No. There we are. Okay, now we're gonna go with some very strong distortion on this. This isn't going through the stomp box in A. Yeah, okay. So I wanted to go like this then. Can I move these? Can I move this up in any way? How does this affect the sound? Not really, it just makes it a bit louder. I'll just use it like this. I like that sound. And then we'll add our little Echo Boy here, Echo Boy Jr. Maybe let's try this. Let's try M Spectral Dynamics. I should have that in here somewhere. Hopefully. Tools. EQ. I guess not. It's not some plugin that I often use, so I don't often have to go looking for it, but it would be nice to have it in the menu system anyway. Spectral Dynamics here. So this is kind of like Soothe in that it's a resonance suppressor. This one obviously looks a lot more terrifying. I should be able to set it like this. Here it plays. I want this to attack it as strong as possible. Yeah, it just allows you to really flatten it out, right? I think this one is a little bit too dry. Do you prefer Echo Boy Junior over standard Echo Boy? Well, I only have the Echo Boy Junior, so I couldn't tell you. But I do really like my Echo Boy Junior. And I think this part here isn't available in a normal Echo Boy. I could be wrong though. I could have missed something in the videos. But I think that you have these 7 different choices of like the tonality of your delay sound. And I like the wide functionality. So really, when it comes to a delay unit, Echo Boy Junior is all that I need from it. In that, it gives me the sounds that I'm after. Smeet Srivendi, welcome to the stream. Thank you for the kind words. I'm trying to explore new sounds to add in high-tech. If you were to guess what sort of sound elements, such as synths and one-shots coming in the future, which may enhance our trip experience further. Well, personally, I'm also experimenting with high-tech recently, and you can follow along when you watch my streams where I do the high-tech from scratch series. I think I'll do high-tech from scratch every other week as my like non-Sunday afternoon stream. As I said, I'm trying to get to a point where I stream 2 times during the week and then do the Sunday stream, but I don't know if I can do that every week. And then like one of the 4 streams every 2 weeks would be a high-tech from scratch. And then I'll eventually just try to finish the track that I worked on. But when it comes to like new elements, it's just all about experimentation for yourself. Do you have Soundtoys 5 Effects Rack plugin? I do not, no. From Soundtoys, I just have Little Alter Boy and Echo Boy Junior. Little Alter Boy over here, and then in delay, Echo Boy Junior over here. Did I just delete the Omnisphere? Yeah, I did. I might want to find 2, 3 more Omnisphere sounds. I think I want to add a flute to this. So what I'm going to do is duplicate this once more. I'll have to open up this as well. It always takes a little bit longer the first time when you open up Omnisphere, because it just has to load the preset from the massive library. So I'd like to pre-open them. So now, as you can see, it just goes instantly. So now I can just go ahead and find new sounds that I want to add here. So I'm thinking of like one big flute stab thing, flute element, which obviously this isn't. If I go just flute in here and then all categories. Not really the tone that I'm looking for. This one is cool. I like that. I'm going to duplicate that over. Zenline, welcome. How are you doing? Long time no see, I think. Right, you weren't in the last feedback stream, I think, right? I would like another flute sound so that we have something to pair it with. I do like this one. Nice, little bit of glide on there. Yeah, like that. Little bit of attack on it as well. Like 1 second on both of these. What are we working on? We are working currently on making different one-shots for the track. When I'm trying to remake songs that I struggle with recreating glitch effects and one-shots. Do you have a system for doing so? Not really a system. Over the years, I've built up different techniques, obviously, that allow me to do different things and get like different results. And I just know what kind of result I'm going to get from what different process. And that's just how you learn sound design. When it comes to glitch stuff, be prepared to not get the exact same sound that you're after. In fact, I would discourage trying to go for that, because it is really hard to actually get close in terms of all of the randomness that is involved in a glitchy effect, right? So in that case, I would just personally not really care about the exact kind of glitch that I'm going for, but just trying to see if I can get the ideas to work. How do you make a ship horn? I don't think you would make that. You would either use a sample-based system like I've been doing here for the flutes, or you would sample it directly from a source that you like. I'm hoping for something more distorted sounding. Something like that. Nice. Let's see. Maybe I'll just stick with this one, actually. Is there a release on there? No. I guess there's just some lag on it when I'm stopping playback. Okay. What I should make a habit of is always leaving an Omnisphere open here, I guess, so that I don't spend too much time opening it up. Because now I have the sounds that I want, right? So say that we put one sound over here. Like that. We'll add our delay like we usually do. Sometimes I'll go for H delay, which has its own unique tonality. I like this one too. Obviously we set it to ping pong. Oh, it took the mono version for some reason. Does this only get me the mono version? What if I do... I should just uninstall the plugins that I don't want to show up like this, because this is annoying. Okay, so I guess it's like this then. You can change it, as you see, if you change the name that is showing up, I think. Yeah, now it's opening up the normal one. And you can hear we retain the stereo version. And now we have our ping pong delay version. Maybe a bit much on the feedback. This is the kind of thing I would flatten out in the same way here. Maybe I'm going to start finding a use for something like spectral delay or what other people use like Soothe for. It does seem to slightly destroy the sound though. Keeping some smoothness in there is nice though. I like that. Let's hear the difference. I think it just... yeah, it just makes it a little bit brighter, a little bit less in your face. This should be another like digital one-shot kind of thing. Yeah, and I wanted to modify this so that it only has the B component here. Without delay, without release. If possible, also without any auto panning. And modulate. Yeah, just like a nice big impact thing here. I think this is the first benefit of knowing sound design, is when you're using something like Omnisphere or any preset pack, you can make those small modifications to take an idea that already exists and kind of bend it to your exact will, what you exactly wanted to do. Okay, here I'm actually going for the longer delay length. That sounds cool. What if I make this longer though? I like that. It's just not dynamic enough, which we can fix by just doing this before the delay. Now it's a little bit more plucky, I guess. Can also remove some of its bottom. And then you get something like that. And now we have our two flutes. We have this one over here, which I'll do an octave higher. I like that. I'm just going to transgate it towards the end there so that we chop it up like so over time. Is it weird to do an entire melody with bassline, like different variations? Because I don't know, melodies are so hard, to be honest. But putting plugins on bassline is so fun, even Gator. Well, when it comes to plugins on the bassline or even melodies, it's not something that I experiment with too much. As you can see, there's no melody in here whatsoever. It's just root note. And I kind of like that in terms of the feeling that it gets. Sometimes I will do a melody because it is needed. And I might end up doing melodies in sections like this and this, where the energy is very high and it can definitely help with adding extra interest to the track. But for example, over here, I did have a melody at some point in this part here, and it just didn't really fit with the elements that are sitting on top. The thing is not so much the difficulty of just making the melody itself, it is fitting everything else in the track around that melody. That is what makes it really hard, in my opinion. Of course, it's going to differ a little bit from producer to producer and from track to track. If you're doing something very glitchy, very like psychedelic, I would say, in terms of your sound design, something like this, right? You can put any melody under that and it should probably still sound good on the different melodies that you're using. Right, just the combination of that kind of sequence with any bass melody that you're using will probably sound good, as long as the bass melody itself makes sense. When it comes to putting plugins on my bassline, I wouldn't do that too much, because that's a recipe for taking something that is clean, taking a clean bassline, and just destroying it extremely, right? And that's why I have size scope, that's why I check those kind of things usually, and that's why I also recommend, you know, either patches that are clean by nature, like the serum patch that I have here, or resampling your bassline. I shared my current project track. Where did you share it? I'm not going to be listening to any music right now or doing feedback or anything like that. I did see that you put it in the Discord there. So I have that. I also have a friend request from somebody new on the server. I always accept those immediately because it's usually somebody that wants to talk to me about something. So it's nice to have them. Not for now feedback. I'll probably listen to it after the stream, maybe, if I feel like it. Usually after streams like this, I'm fairly low on energy. Not so much physically, because I don't really do much, right? Like, I'm not out here jumping around or anything like that. So physically I'm fine, but just mentally, with having to speak and having to think about all of the things that I need to say while I'm producing, it does take a little bit of a toll on, you know, being able to think after that. I will probably have time, but I'll probably be so tired that I don't actually want to, you know, continue listening to tracks and stuff like that. I tend to need a little bit of a break, and that tends to become the whole evening for me. Okay, so my idea was this. Here. I guess we can go. I'm making it all even shorter. I'm making this one like this, and I'll make the first one okay. I like that. I do think the attack is a little bit too short on that second one. What I'm going to do is probably automate it, both of them. Enable host automation on this, and then enable host automation on this as well. Here we want it to be longer. I like that. We shall add an echo. I didn't want the spectral dynamics though. Sometimes a clean echo like this on a very clean sound is actually fairly nice. Even here the noise component is maybe a little bit too much. In terms of one-shots that we have now, I'm pretty happy with the sounds that we have. I would like some more gritty stuff in between here, maybe before that plug thing. So I'm going to also sound design a bunch of them. I like the different tonalities that you get between the sound designed ones inside of Serum as opposed to the ones that sit in Omnisphere. It's not good to have like all from one and all from the other. You need to have a good combination between your more organic sounds, which is something that Omnisphere provides, and the very gritty, synthesized, very attention-grabbing sounds, I guess. I definitely need to make this one lower here. I guess that's my biggest reason for trying to move away from Serum, even into stuff like Vital, is because you just get different textures out of the synths naturally from how they're designed. And I think that having a few different textures in a track makes it easier for you to make special sounds. Because if you always use the same technique, you're always going to get very similar sounds. And honestly, at some point you do get boring of a tone spec like this. Like, it's very easy and very versatile, but at some point having the same kind of gritty metallic sounds that you're going to get from a tone spec like mine is going to be boring. Right? Constantly the same kind of sounds, but every once in a while, like a big sound like this is very nice to have. I'll probably put it on the offbeat. Oh, I would have liked that to be in the right key. It suddenly just went down 2 octaves. There. Let's add our Echo Boy. Can you use serum presets inside of Vital? No. You can only use serum presets inside of Serum. I like this one the most. Okay, we will make it stereo. Bit more oomph, bit more strength out of this one would be nice. Oh. Should have done that with the automation in check. One day I'm going to find myself a system that I can toggle this on and off with the keyboard. But as long as I don't use any other macros, I probably won't. But this is one of those buttons you always have to look for it, reach over before you use it. It's for those that don't know, this is so that you can lock automation, so that you could move a clip without moving the automation. It's super helpful that that option exists. And I use it all the time, but it's always a hassle between having it on and off. It would be much nicer if you could just like hold control and it would be able to do that. But I don't think, yeah, you cannot do that. At least I don't think that there's any shortcut, because Shift is for off the grid or Alt is for off the grid. Maybe Shift, is it? No. It would be nice if Shift would be like temporary, as if the button is on or as if the button is off, depending on what mode you're initially on. Like it temporarily toggles it as long as you hold it and you're dragging something. Or copying something maybe. Little bit boring at the beginning. It could use a bit more grid high end. I think it works a lot better with the sequence not interfering too much with the vocal there. The next thing that I quickly want to do is add one of the effects that I always like to use. Which one is it? One of these? Here, this one. I believe it's 128, it's BPM. This is just one of those effects that is always nice to have. It's just like a riser and downlifter in one, so it works very well in terms of texture together. Would you tell someone to try overcome this mental block or go with something that works at the moment? Well, I'm assuming that you're talking about like not liking your own ideas when you're writing your music. And in that case, it is something that will always happen as long as you spend too much time on your project, I guess. What I mean by that is, like when I'm producing as well, I'll produce something and I'll have some idea and I'm like, okay, this is cool, this is sounding very nice. And then I wake up the next morning and I'm thinking to myself, like, what the hell was I doing here? What even is this as an idea, right? Sometimes you just have ideas that seem really cool in the moment and that just don't work. And that can cause a blockade in that you start to think that you're only going to have those kind of moments, which is not the case. You're always going to have at some point like this one breakthrough of an idea that just really stands out and really sticks. And you just need to continue producing until you get one or two of those ideas per track. And from that, you can use those ideas to balance off and bounce off any of the other ideas from, right? So in this case, right now, the track really doesn't have any of those ideas for me yet. And I know that it will probably be likely that it takes a lot of time for me to actually get those ideas and get that magical element that is going to identify the track for me in the track. So what I do is I just continue producing until I get that. I know that I like, for example, the kick and bass and the structure and some of the ideas that already sit in the track. And I just need to continue working until I hit that sweet moment that I'm like, oh yes, now I've found the exact element that makes this track work. But you're not going to find that on your first try. You're not going to find that on your second try. It is something that you need to iterate on and spend a lot of time on before you actually get to a point where you're like, okay, this is the element that is going to make this track for me. Can't you map a key to it? To this knob here? I think I can, but that's not the functionality that I want. I would like to have an inverting functionality so that I can just do that immediately. What's your take on remixes? I have a hard time coming up with ideas completely from scratch. However, when I rip MIDI and try to make something original from that, I get into a workflow way faster. I personally don't like to do remixes. I get the appeal both from like a marketing perspective, because you can bounce off the kind of popularity of the track that you're remixing, I guess. And from a writing perspective, in that you already have the idea that you can start working on and you just bounce off of that and you don't have to come up with the very initial idea. As I said, I have my own methods of getting the idea in there and not having to worry too much about writer's block, in the sense that I just really spent... Sorry, it's recording time as well. Now that I have to worry about the content, I redo sentences. In the sense that it is really just easy for me to eventually get to an idea that I like. So I know that for certain projects, I want to continue them, I want to finish them, and sometimes I just leave them rest for a while. That's one of the reasons why I'm working on 7-8 projects at the time, is so that if a project just really isn't working for me, I can just leave it for a month. And then I come back with completely fresh ears and completely fresh ideas that I can then start implementing into the track. And that's usually a bigger advantage for me than having the advantage of already having the MIDI or the initial idea that you're bouncing off the remix, because that can also be a limitation. So for that reason, I'm personally not too big of a fan of remixes. The other thing that I think of a remix is that I need to be able to add something substantially to the idea, right? Like I need to be able to take this idea and improve it in some way. To me, that is the end goal of a remix. I don't like to do a remix just for the sake of having the name recognize or the name recognition from the original track. As I said before, it's a good idea both from a writing perspective, from a creative perspective, as well as from a marketing perspective, in that you're taking the name recognition of the original track that you're remixing. Maybe you're doing some kind of pop song which has a huge amount of views, and you take that name and you make it into a sidetrance track, then you're kind of coasting off the idea that somebody else already had. And personally, I don't like it if my music was in any way associated with that kind of thing. So I wouldn't do that. At least, I mean, I wouldn't do a remix solely for the purpose of, having that name recognition. If I want to do a remix, as I said, I want to be able to contribute something to the idea or reevaluate an idea that somebody else may had. I did the live remix there. A couple of months ago, I released that. And that was actually a track that I made over a year ago, I think. And the whole thing came about because I was like, oh, I like what you're doing with this vocal. I like what you're doing with the instruments in this track, but I don't like what you're doing with, for example, your kick and bass. I don't exactly remember what my idea was now. But in the original track, I was like, if I had made this track, I would have done it so and so and so. And then I started talking about that, and he was like, well, do you want to remix it? And I was like, okay, because I knew that I was able to actually add an idea of my own to the track. If I do another break, I don't know if I will. Maybe I'll just stop streaming after a while, because I am starting to be a little bit tired, a little bit mentally burned out, I guess. But if I do another break, I'll play that track. Okay. Take a cup of coffee. I am not a coffee drinker. I haven't had a coffee in a few months, I would say. And even then, I'll take a cup of coffee if I'm at my parents' house, at my neighbor's, who is a 90-year-old Italian woman who lives on the farmland and doesn't know anything else than everybody drinks a coffee after lunch, right? At that point, you cannot, I guess, not accept a coffee. No, wait, I did have a coffee on New Year's. Around New Year's, I had one coffee. But other than that, after that, because I was out with my friends, and my friends also for breakfast, they drink a coffee. That's standard in Italian. But personally, I'm not a big fan of coffee. Like, I'll drink it, but I've always felt like shit afterwards if I drink a coffee. So just out of, being, how do you say that? I had the word in my head, but now I don't know. Polite. So I'll drink coffee just for being kind of like polite, but I don't drink it to enjoy it. You know what I mean? Because I know that after a while, if I do drink a coffee, I'm going to be feeling a little bit bad. Like, it usually hits my stomach in an annoying way. I just get like a little, like, it feels like your stomach is a little bit twisted. You know what I mean? you just don't feel quite right. I'm not like sick or anything, like I don't get a huge pain in my stomach or anything like that, but it just gets you a little bit groggy once the effects of the coffee actually start to wear off. So for that reason, I don't like to drink any coffee. And it's kind of funny because I also drink energy drinks sometimes, and that also has caffeine, but it doesn't give me the same kind of grogginess in the afternoon. Maybe it's the sugar or something like that that like keeps me up, that still keeps me fit and active and stuff like that, because it also takes a toll on my energy. But anytime that I drink coffee, I get a dip in the afternoon. If I drink it in the morning, that is. Right? So like 6 hours after, I'll just feel like shit. So for that reason, I just don't drink it. So even if I wanted to, I wouldn't have any in the house because I wouldn't drink it any other moment. Because you are right, it would pepper me up a little bit if I drink a cup of coffee now. It would definitely help me increase my energy. So you are more energy drinker. Yes, exactly. And then even then, when it comes to energy, I only drink energy drinks in the morning. And I only drink one a day. Because I don't want to get to a point where I'm maybe addicted to energy drink. I don't want to be dependent on needing that caffeine in the morning. You know what I mean? Like, it boosts me, it peppers me up nicely, but when I get to my parents or whenever I'm not at home or something like that, I don't miss it. Coffee also gives me stinky sweats. To be honest, I don't remember if it gave me that, but I imagine it did as well. Because I get the stinky sweats from everything. Okay, so here we have not a lot of space for fill. I'm going to delete these and then move this over. Let's just move this, like crossfade in between on all four of them. Somebody did say like multi-fade clipping doesn't exist in Ableton, and I think they mean making these kind of crossfades. I don't think there's a way that you could actually do that inside of Ableton by doing multis, right? Unless you're able to select this and Control F between them. Yeah, there's no way. Like this it doesn't. Like that it doesn't. Yeah. Okay, I do believe that I have like a little bongo thingy happening over here. I would like to use that here. So what am I drinking right now? I just have like a syrup. I'm not 100% sure that I like this sound in here, like that. It sounds like something that would need to play maybe in the outro or something. That we could try, actually. Now that I think of it, I could put this right here. Something like that could be our fade out. So that the drums just kind of continue a little bit and then it goes out. But that does mean that I need another little fill thing, I guess, for here. Hey, wanted to ask you, do your masterclass ever go on sale? Well, the masterclass 2.0 just went on sale with everything else that was on sale on my Gumroad during the holidays. That sale ended the 10th, so you're a little bit late for that. I think I'll do another sale somewhere in April, May-ish. I'm trying to aim for 3 or 4 sales a year doing that. And probably having products in between every one of them. Right? Making some products in between every one of them so that there's some new stuff for people to actually explore. But the other one, you'll have to look at the myloops.net website. That's the old one. I would recommend getting the 2.0 one, the one that is on my Gumroad, because I think that's better. I made it later on. It's more footage. It is a little bit pricier, but you get a lot more value for that price. If you want a little bit of a cheaper one, then you can get the one that is on MyLoops, which, as I said, is a little bit shorter. It's like 4.5 hours as opposed to the 24 hours that my Masterclass 2.0 is. But you would need to look at that website if it's on sale or not. I don't control that website. So I don't know if that goes on sale, unfortunately. Okay, let's get a little feel for that. I do want that kind of tonality in the kind of bongo stuff, I guess. So we'll go with... Has that always been so high up? I guess it is. Strange. Ah, this is the volume 2. I wanted the volume 3. That's right. That's lower. That's what I noticed. I'm going to be producing now. I sent my favorite track of the artist I recommended in Music You Like. Thanks for the answers and have a good one. Thank you, man. I'll check it out later. After the stream. This obviously also needs a big delay on it. Because everything in Psytrance needs a big delay on it. You can never go wrong with a big delay. I want this to be a little bit more smashed, a little bit stronger. Kind of like that, but... without any of the super annoying low frequencies or high frequencies in there. probably a good idea to have it come in like this. I'll find later exactly what kind of sound I want in here. Probably no big sequences in here. What I'm probably going to do is go into big sequences in here again. And then just without these sequences kind of do the same thing that I did here, in that I add a whole bunch of different one-shots. So in here, it's going to have the same energy level. So I need some stronger one-shots. I need some more one-shots probably. But it's going to rely fully on one-shots as opposed to different sequences, I guess. I am really starting to get tired. I'm trying my desperate to get to like 3.5 hours, because that's my normal stream time, but I'm not sure if I'm going to make it today. I did do a lot of other work that I had to do, so I hope you guys don't mind if I maybe sign off a little bit earlier. Let's do some housekeeping here, just making sure that everything is now aligned with the structure that I have right here. I think I'll make it to 3 hours of streaming and then I'll quit for today. Anyway, I'll probably wait until April. Yeah, oh, well, it's unfortunate, yeah, that you missed that information. It was literally everywhere for me, in that I posted it on my Discord, I posted it on my YouTube as different images in the community posts. I talked about it in videos. One thing that you can do, and this is a recommendation for everyone, is on my Gumroad I can get followers. I think if I go to my page I might be able to show that. Yeah, if you put your email address in here, you can subscribe, I think, to, as you can see, all of the products that I have, and whenever there's a sale going on, you'll hear about it through there. So you can put your email address in here, and then whenever I have a sale, you can shop for my masterclass or any of the other products that I may have. By the way, the track sounds awesome. Thank you. You should take a break if you feel like it. It's not going to be helped with a break. Like, I'm getting to the point where I'm tired that if I really want to, I guess, recover, I would just need to stop streaming, right? And then I would be fine in a couple of hours again. But even now, like, I know that the rest of the evening I'm not going to be as productive as I would have been had I not streamed. At the end of the day, though, that's the sacrifice I'm willing to make, because streaming is fun. I get a lot of fun out of it too. It's a cool experience. I get to talk to you guys. I get to interact with my community. I get direct feedback on the track. I get new content out of it. I get to edit another stream down into a video that I can post. So there's a lot of benefits for me too. So it's just a sacrifice that I'm willing to make. It is one of the more harder forms of content to make, because I have to sit here, be, I guess, somewhat entertaining, but be mainly focusing on explaining things and showing around different techniques and making sure that you guys actually have some fun content to watch, as well as talking with you guys. But like, sorry. So that's fairly intense in terms of the mental energy that it takes. And usually what I found is with something like the feedback stream nowadays, I can do that a little bit easier. It's not as hard as doing stuff like production, because I still feel the need, like, I want to explain everything that I do. Maybe I should just stop doing that a little bit more and purely focus on, when I want to interact with you guys, just interacting with the chat, because I think that that's more valuable in terms of entertainment. Yes, I could explain another synth patch, but I have thousands of shorts, not thousands, but I have hundreds of shorts explaining synth patches, and I have tens of tutorials explaining complex synth ideas. So I wouldn't really benefit to have another one. The stream is supposedly more for interaction with your community directly, because it's the only live element that I have. So maybe I should try to focus maybe a bit more on just doing that, and maybe that way I can save some energy as well. But these are all things, now that I'm getting back into it, I also need to, you know, get better at again. Because I took a 3-week break off of streaming over the holidays, and you immediately forget some of the things that you used to do to keep yourself energized. It is true, yeah. I should probably just quit now then. And I mean, I have done 3 hours, so I'm happy with that. I have been fairly productive on getting some one-shots out of there. And to be honest, if I turn off the stream now, I'll probably still continue to produce. So it's not like I'm losing out on productivity by doing it. In fact, I might be able to do some more things that I wanted to do for other things that aren't necessarily production, that I cannot show on stream or that you guys wouldn't be interested in. But I think you're right. I think I should stop streaming for now. As I said, normally I aim for 3.5 hours at least, sometimes 4 hours, but sometimes you just don't have the energy for it. In my defense though, final defense, I was also sick yesterday. I ate some bad food. I wanted to originally stream yesterday, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to be nice for myself and I'm actually going to cook something. So I made ribs from wild boars with a special Dutch sauce called satay sauce, and potatoes. I made that. I baked some potatoes as well. So I was like, oh, I'm really doing good today. I cooked something nice. I cooked something from scratch, right? I don't often, like, I wouldn't say not often, but I don't always do that. Sometimes I'll still have like a pizza from the freezer and I'll throw some stuff on there, or just a piadina or something simpler, right? I wanted to do something a little bit more complex. And I got immediately punished for it by being sick the whole afternoon. I felt terrible. I spent a long time on the toilet, relatively. It wasn't too bad, and I'm feeling better now, but I'm assuming that that also has a little bit of impact on the energy level that I have today. No need to defend yourself, community should understand. I know that you guys do understand, but I'm just open about these things. I'm not defending myself in any way. I'm just being open about the situation. And I think that that's a good thing to do. So that means that I'm going to end the stream for now. And I hope you guys still enjoyed what we did for today. I hope that I can get it into my schedule of doing another stream before the feedback stream. As I said, I wanted to do 2 streams a week, excluding the feedback stream. That means that we would continue to work on this production here. I'll probably try and see if I can do that Saturday though, because tomorrow I'm getting my monitors here. I do have a lot of work to do, because those monitors are going to require me setting up like a special way of filming, for example, because I want to have the camera kind of like over here to the side when I'm installing them, so you get the time lapse of me putting them in here. So there's like a lot of things that aren't my normal videos and stuff that I have to prepare. But we'll have to see. If I have the time, then I'll have the time, and you'll guys see the notification that I'm live, or the Discord message, whatever you guys look for. If not, then we'll see each other Sunday.